Did you know that about 25% of all food bought in the US ends up in landfills? That means a fourth of the food that you buy ends up wasted. Like that money out the window. Nobody wants to waste a fourth of anything. So what can we do about it? Oh dear God. No, it's not because my arms are weak. It's just time to take out the compost. Imagine this. Plants grow and die and grow again in the same spot. Why is that? This plant is, when left alone, participating in its own life cycle. It is getting nutrients from the soil and then giving them back when it dies. Now, what humans have done is we have created all these agricultural plots of land, right? We plant all this food and then we take the food up from the soil and then we plant it again. But how are we getting the nutrients that we took from the soil and putting them back? If it's been overused, it's gonna get really dry because you aren't putting enough nutrients back into the soil. This is where composting comes in. When you compost, you are giving the nutrients back that you aren't using. I'm not saying cut down on the food you eat. I'm saying just compost the food that you don't eat. Look, I don't live in a house. I don't got no big old yard. I don't have a garden. I don't got none of that. I live in an apartment and I can't have this big old farmland to compost in. So here's what I do. I wanna feel like the food that I didn't use is actually going somewhere. So I put it in my composter. I did my research. I know that there's a community garden nearby where I live and they take compost from everyone in the community. I'm super blessed to be able to live next to one. And you might live next to one too. You should look it up. Honestly, I just Googled if there were any composting spots near me, but also look around, see if there are any trails nearby where you live. See if there are any gardens, and hey, if you see somebody raking some soil, ask them, do you take compost? There are tons of places that take compost, especially farms, to put nutrients back into their soil. So here's how I use my composter. Anything on my plate that I didn't finish, it goes in the composter. At the end of the night, when I clean my sink, because I don't leave dishes in my sink overnight, if there's any food left in the bottom of the sink, that goes in the compost. What I don't put in there is anything man-made. I don't put plastic, the bags that a lot of your produce go in, I don't put that in there. Sometimes there are zip ties that go around your produce. Don't put that in there. Only the things that could decompose and actually help the soil. If you want another video talking about what exactly I do compost and how that ties into my composter, let me know and I will do that. Now I know what you're thinking. Composting is gonna smell bad. How do you make it so that your kitchen doesn't smell bad? I got you. Here's my composter. Okay, you see this? This lid, it's sealable. Okay, that means everything in there is sealed, airtight, and the smell only comes out when I open the lid. But it's only gonna smell if you leave it open. And I don't recommend that if you don't want flies. I don't recommend a composter that isn't airtight sealable, okay? If it's not gonna be airtight sealed, then just wait until you could find one or afford one that is. I don't have the small ones that you put on your kitchen island or the counter or whatever, because personally, I don't want to see my composter. It goes right there in the bottom of my sink. And when my composter gets full, meaning I could barely carry it, it's time to give it back to the land. Check out if there's a community garden, a pea patch, or even just a farm nearby to you that's looking for people to donate their compost. You never know. And you never know if you're helping out the land that you live on.